Alright guys, I'm back with another video. I'm gonna do this one on the Tiny Tina DLC, although I will warn you, I do have a surprise at the end, and yeah, be sure to stick around for that one. So basically I've played the Tiny Tina DLC. I've not completed the side missions because, well, I'm quite busy at the minute and I have just got Battlefield 3, so I've been playing a little bit of that, playing a bit of COD, playing a lot of games on Steam. Yes, Steam Summer Sale is on, so let's get right into this. It's basically my thoughts on the Tiny DLC. Obviously, I've done some side missions, and you know, I've got quite a lot of opinions on it. Obviously, Tiny Tina, the favourite character for most Borderlands 2 fans. I would have to say that the humour in this excels. It's one of Borderlands' big things, and it doesn't disappoint. There are a lot of funny dialogue, just everything. It just seems like they've put a lot of effort into the humour side of it. I was trying to think of a quote. I've not played the DLC in probably a week or two, so well, the dialogue's not fresh. They do, one thing I do remember is them touching on various TV shows or programs and getting the characters involved in. Mordecai gets really upset that there's all these different programs and he knows none of them, but he watches this thing and it's some British program, and they get an aristocrat type character to come in, and Mordecai makes you talk to him, and you talk to him, and yeah, it's pretty funny what he says. He comes out all posh and stuff. Being from the UK, I do find it amusing, but at the same time, we don't all talk like that, as you can tell by my voice. But yeah, sticking with the characters getting involved, Brick is a central focus, and it is quite amusing. Tiny Tina says, "What do you do?" and the characters Lilith and Brick and Mordecai sort of put in what they do, and then you generally have to do what they say, which I think is a bit linear. I think with Dungeons and Dragons it needed to be a bit more open, but what happens because of this, they've got to keep a story and everything, and it works. I will warn you now, I'm about to share a few spoilers probably, so if you're not wanting spoilers, just know that the game is awesome and you should buy it. But yeah, if you're alright with having a few spoilers, or you're not intending on getting it, so you know you can hear about it quite easily and freely, then yeah. Brick, there's a point where you have to talk to an NPC, or what would be an NPC, and you basically it looks like you're gonna go talk to the dwarves basically, because yeah, as you might have already gathered, there's dwarves, orcs and that sort of thing in the game. Basically, the dwarves are in the mines, and you've got to go in, and Brick says, "I punch him in the face," and basically Brick punches the dwarf king in the face, and then the dwarves all hate you, so you have to fight them as well. It's a good way of basically eliminating the fact that there's going to be a whole lot of friendly characters bopping around, and it's going to be basically you going through the mines. It makes the story longer as well, because you've got to then go around and kill all them. I think in the mines Claptrap might direct you a bit, if I remember, but yeah, it's quite interesting as well with the dwarves. Let's go a bit into the enemies. Like, the dwarves all look like Salvador. but the one piece of dialogue that I do remember from that is Salvador's like obviously downstairs. The actual Vault Hunters from the game are downstairs in the video, while Lilith, Brick, and Mordecai are playing with Tiny Tina in you know, upstairs. They're downstairs torturing the informant, but like Salvador is downstairs and Tiny Tina is basically called up on the fact that it might be seen a bit racist and Salvador might not approve. So Tiny Tina then basically echoes Salvador and says, is it racist that all my dwarves look like you? And he's like, no, that is fucking awesome. And yeah, I think that was one of the happiest moments of the game. It was like, oh wow, yeah, that's pretty sweet. And they touch on racism, which, you know, is basically like them doing a sort of maybe not exactly a Frankie Boyle, but sort of like pushing the boat, if you know what I mean. Just going, oh yeah, we can be racist, but wait, we know that, you know, racism isn't cool, so don't jump on us for that. Yeah, going back to the enemies, orcs, dwarves. Now, I don't think there's any elves in here. I'm a little bit disappointed that they put orcs and dwarves in, but not elves. But I think they might have a reason behind that. Some of the variations are pretty cool. You've got spiders in there, which I wasn't really too impressed with, because it's like basically a lot of the names for the spiders are rehashed from the spider rats. I think it's spiderlings, but there's the Black Widow spider. It gets kind of annoying fighting them as well, which I think is another reason why I don't particularly like them, but they are. I've only played it completely all the way through on normal mode, so you know, I will see what they do with that, and if anything changes when you get through to True Vault Hunter or Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. Admittedly, I'm not really one for going through Ultimate Vault Hunter mode on my own. Obviously with it raising to your level or the highest level in your party, I'm going to have to wait until I'm the highest level, I think, and possibly find a couple of people to party up with. But yeah, there is also like puzzles in the game, and this is likened to Skyrim. It's not done in a way where you would be like frustrated, because there's one particular puzzle where you have to use the jumping things to get across, and I think they've taken the piss out of it somewhat, and at the same time sort of used it to sort of jump on that bandwagon and then gone, we know a lot of people don't like this, so after a while, if you're still failing at it, we'll just let you get past that bit, which I think is ideal for, like, Borderlands is quite an easy game to just jump into and play through. If you get somebody from another like skill level to come in and give you a hand if need be, it's always been the way for me. But this was kind of cool how there was a bridge, like platforms that moved up and down, and you're like, oh crap, how am I going to do this? And I died several times, and all of a sudden it says, alright, I see your point, this is a bit shit. So they rolled out a bridge, and yeah, you got across pretty easily. It still was a bit of a challenge to do some of the puzzle elements. Finding places seems to be a little bit harder in this DLC. Not something that I'm a fan of, but I can see a lot of people might find it a bit better to have a bit more, you know, oh shit, where am I going, what am I doing? But yeah, I'll then looking at going back to the enemies, and there's obviously the tree ants, which is, they're pretty cool. There's a point where you have to go and there's like I thought it was going to be a badass rank, but I don't think it was. Getting some fruit off a tree ant without having to kill the tree ant. I managed to do it on my second sort of attempt at that. I don't know whether I was in someone else's game or whether I was just playing through True Revolt on mode. But the story is awesome, and yeah, the hype for it made it seem like it was going to be this mammoth story and it was going to be a big DLC, and I think they're not that clear when they sort of go into the DLC and how big it is. They're always hyping it up to be very big. There's Hammerlocks and this both being claimed to be very big. Neither of the stories were that long. Both of them were very short story, but a fair bit of DLC side quests. I would say that this DLC, the story is a little bit longer. It's not as long as they've made me think it is, and the side quests, I haven't really played a lot of them, so I can't really judge, but I would say yeah, it's big, but it's not really what people are expecting. People want bigger, they always want more. I don't think it's fair of them to ascertain that it's, you know, big enough, but I don't think people can expect much bigger because it's a DLC, it's not a full game. But yeah, going back, forgot to mention the enemies, also the fairy. Yeah, when I think it's when you come into the forest, and maybe in another point as well, this fairy will hover above you saying catch me if you can, and if you manage to catch her, you get buffs. I think she makes you faster, and that's the only one you can really tell what she's doing. But I know that there's little shrines dotted throughout the game where you get like buffs, speed, ammo, and stuff like that. It's basically you've got that. And I'm not really a big fan of the buffs, but I think that's because it doesn't tell you what they are. I think if it popped up on screen, like when the fairy does it, yeah, when you activate a shrine, it tells you what buff you're going for. So you know, it's all a bit hit and miss. But I'm trying to think what else there is. There's a certain type of side quest that I've tried that I don't really like. Moxie's in the DLC as like the bartender, and you go down to her bar and you basically, you're like, oh, I've got these two guys and they're drunk and they're not paying attention to me and they're being a pain in the ass, can you sort them out, and get rough if you have to. So you basically sort them out, punch him in the face, and he goes, oh sorry, I won't bother, I'll shut up, I'll calm down and all this. And then he throws an insult at you, so Torg's like, get the fuck out. You chase after him, so you basically chase after him, and you just have to chase after him, and he just goes round a big circuit, and you've got to punch him in the face. And I found it really difficult to keep up with him, so I'm not sure whether it's really the plan that you should like keep up with him, whether you should go to a point where he's going to go past and then wait for him and punch him in the face, which is what I eventually did. But with a siren, it's really annoying because by the time when you go up to punch him in the face, it does a slag, and that doesn't count. So you're a bit fucked, and then you try and punch him again and he's already set off and he's already ahead of you, so it's not really ideal. But yeah, basically Tiny Tina DLC, well worth it. The sound in it, the music is pretty good. obviously interested in that side, being into a lot of sound stuff myself, maybe being into music production and stuff. I'd love to have worked on the sound in this game, and the way they've changed the vending machines. It's just really rewarding seeing what they put out and the effort they put in for the DLC. It's a lot. I don't know whether it's because it's a different type of game and it's easier for them to do this, but I find it a lot more worthwhile than the COD DLC or the Battlefield DLC or, you know, the Sims and SimCity DLC. But basically, definitely worth a look. If you haven't got it and you haven't got any of the DLC, just get the Season Pass. It is so much easier, so much cheaper to get the Season Pass, and it's worth it. The Torg DLC is amazing. The Hammerlock DLC is pretty good. Pirate DLC is my least favourite, but it's still pretty good. You know, they're all pretty good. And added to that, there is the Psycho pack, which is, at the minute, I've not had much time with the Psycho. I think when I get higher level, I will be able to big that guy up somewhat chronic. So, go back down, and if you haven't, buy the Season Pass. But this brings me nicely on to my surprise. Some of you may know that Borderlands 2 did a stream from Australia at the wee hours of this morning. I caught the last half an hour and have a little bit to share. I only caught the last half an hour. I saw in the chat that they might have confirmed the Moonbase as a future expansion, and that would be sweet, but in the rundown at the end covering what they covered, they didn't mention it. So they did mention they wanted to do 3 more DLCs, one of which is confirmed as a TK Baha zombie expansion. Now, seriously, TK Baha is one of the best characters in the game. Everybody loved him, so to see him come back, everybody will be happy about that. Admittedly, this is not included as part of the Season Pass, so beware about that. But it's still worth it. It looks awesome. They shared a little clip of it, and you know, looking forward to that. I know someone will be proper. I called this on this one, but another 11 levels. Another 11 levels of Borderlands 2. And interestingly about that, it comes with I think it's an arena style DLC. We didn't get to see a lot of that. They just did a bit of God mode in it and floated around the map and looked at a few names of the locations. But yeah, that looks pretty cool as well. That is basically, if you haven't got Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, you can still get this. But it will add the level cap to what you have. It will not let you have both of them just for the price of one. And Randy Pitchford was saying they've covered all bases, so they're working out how to do Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, like Ultimate Vault Hunter mode 2 and etc., and how it works. If I'm right in thinking the first level cap was 11 and this one's 11, so basically if you're not bothered about both of them, you can get the one with the arena battles, and then it'll work out different for you. But again, Ultimate Vault Hunter mode is included in the Season Pass as far as I know. So you know, if you've got the Season Pass, then if you wanted to go to level 72, I think it's going to be, you can do that by adding this DLC to your list. And the TK Baha DLC is in the Headhunters. Oh, is it? There's 4 new heads as well to do with Dragon's Keep. I think that's going to be revealed via shift codes, so keep your eyes on the shift codes. Basically, they are looking at doing 2, maybe 3 more DLC. This TK Baha is one of those, and I think the arena is a separate, smaller DLC, just specifically for the Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, part 2. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I think all I can say is all the DLC that I've seen so far has been worth a look. Tiny Tina's DLC for me has been a close run thing, but has just edged it against TOG, the TOG DLC, and Hammerlock DLC is close behind still. The Pirate DLC is a little bit below par for me. I wasn't a big fan of it. I liked a lot about it, but as a whole, not as good. But yeah, it's still worth buying. Obviously, I will buy pretty much all the content. I have now officially got Borderlands 2 on PC, so if there are any Steam Borderlands 2 players that want to help me and roll with me, especially in the UK time zone, leave a comment, subscribe, leave a comment, like, whatever you want to do. You know, I'd be appreciative of the support. I'm still working on getting Let's Plays up and running. Now that I've got Borderlands 2, Borderlands 2 is definitely going to be one of my Let's Plays. Another reason to hit me up on Steam. Get involved in my own Let's Plays. I want to just, like, say that, you know, anybody with any suggestions on the easiest way to upload my Let's Plays, preferably to YouTube, but if there's any site that's really good, that works so much better, because I'm finding my YouTube uploads of about half an hour are taking ridiculous amounts to upload. I think the last one I tried is like 5 hours to upload. If anybody knows if that's generally how long it takes, if you're not going to get any better than that for a half an hour video, please let me know. I'd be very grateful. I've also recently picked up a couple of titles on Steam, Osmosis and Reus, if that's how you say it. Reus is how I would say it, R-E-U-S. It's God game, very simple, but very complicated at the same time. I think it looks simple, but it's actually quite deep. I've not got deep into it yet, but it does seem a bit challenging. So I picked it up mainly just to, you know, have a piss about game, but I ended up picking Osmosis, and that seems also not as much of a piss about game as I would have liked. Maybe it's just me, maybe I just suck at those games. So yeah, so that's it. I think I've covered it. Anybody have any questions about Tiny Tina DLC, fire away. I will try and get back to you ASAP. I don't think I'll be doing a video for at least another week and a bit. I'm very busy next weekend, and yeah, I might not even have internet as of Saturday. So basically I'm looking at getting new internet sorted out, and I might be staying with the same provider, or I might not. AOL have been good to me over the years. A lot of people will bash them, but AOL have been pretty good to me, so I might stay with them, AOL and TalkTalk. But Virgin Media have also been good to me, so if they're willing to offer me a decent deal when I move, then they might get my support. BT need to really pull their finger out of their ass, because they've always been more expensive, and I'm not really bothered about customer service as long as if the internet don't work, then and you need the customer service, then something's wrong. So for me, customer service is a secondary sort of plus. The plus being, if my internet works, you get my support. If I don't need your support, then you get my support. So yeah, ciao for now. I will catch you when I'm back on YouTube. Like and subscribe if you wish. It would be nice to have some more subscribers, and yeah, hopefully some Let's Plays in the near future. Catch you later. Bye.